Court is now in session to check the status of this case. Ms. Blank, I am correct in my assumption that you have officially relocated to your new residence, yes? Yes, Your Honor. We have been in our new home for about 3 weeks now. Good. This hearing is simply to check in on how this case is coming along now that there has been a court-ordered guardian ad litem appointed to this case. Has either party had their initial meeting yet? I have not been contacted, and my attorney has not heard anything yet either. I would be happy to reach out to them myself if we could be given her contact information to set something up. I haven't heard from anyone either, which is very concerning seeing as Miss Blank is using her relocation to further alienate me from my child. Which is exactly what I said would happen if this was allowed to occur. And how is this happening? Once again, she is either refusing my calls to Sun, or if she does allow the call, she is instructing him to hang up after only a few minutes. She is encouraging Sun to cut all contact with me. Your Honor, if I may, while I understand that Mr. Blank is unsatisfied with the relationship he has with Sun, he cannot place the blame on my client. He continues to blame my client and claims that she is the reason for missing calls, short calls, or Sun directly hanging up on him. I have pulled the phone records of my client for the last 3 months and have brought them today, in case this claim was made again. If you take a moment to look at the documents submitted to you, you will see a record of every call between Mr. Blank and my client for the last 3 months. It will show that my client has not ignored any calls from Mer Blank. You will also see that calls range anywhere from 5 minutes to almost 15 minutes, and you will notice that the majority of the shorter phone calls are in fact ended by Mr. Blank, and not my client. So while Mr. Blank is attempting to blame my client for his failing relationship, all claims he has made are baseless and bold-faced lies. And I'm sure you didn't doctor the documents or anything, right? Anything Faye signs off on is going to be full of lies and bullcrap. I see if neither party has been contacted by the gal at this point. I will go ahead and end this meeting and we will reconvene at a later date. Your Honor, there is a concern I wish to bring forward regarding Mer Blank's behaviors towards Sun's new school. Any new concerns or issues can be addressed with the gal and presented at the next hearing date. I feel like I must insist, Your Honor. The school has already been pushed into involving their legal team due to the actions of Mr. Blank. I do not think that a matter like this should wait. For the best interests of the child. And as I said, this concern can be brought up to the GAL if she believes it is an urgent matter. The gal can bring it to the court's attention immediately. Further concerns will not be heard today. I understand. Thank you, Your Honor. Court is dismissed and will reconvene in the next few weeks after the gal has begun her investigation. Hi, Faye. My name is Lillian, and I am the court-appointed gal for Sun. Do you have a moment to talk? Of course. How are you? Oh, I'm just fine. I was calling to arrange a time where I can have a televisit with Sun and ask him a few questions. Normally, I would prefer to sit down face to face. But obviously, with your recent move, that wouldn't be possible. Of course, any time you have available, I can make work for Sun to be available. I apologize that it couldn't be face to face. I had no idea that the judge would be appointing a gal until a few weeks before our move. Oh, I know. I've gone through your case filings. I saw that you have had Sun in individual therapy for quite some time. Would you mind signing off on some paperwork stating that I can speak to his therapist? Absolutely. If you want to send those now, I can scan it back to you. Great. I'm happy to hear that you are so cooperative on this. I have already spoken to Dad today, and I do think there are some things that need to be urgently addressed. Hi, Sun. My name is Miss Lillian. I was hoping we would be able to talk and get to know each other a bit. Is that good with you? Yeah, that's fine, I guess. What do you want to talk about? I know you just moved to a whole new state. How are you liking it? Do you like your new school? I do. Everyone is really, really nice. And the cafeteria food is actually good. My old school had nasty food. That's so great. I'm sure it must be hard moving away from most of your family though, isn't it? Your grandma and cousins and dad still live up here. Yeah, I miss my grandma and cousins. I liked hanging out with them. But Mom said we will still get to see them and I call them all the time. So it's okay. Do you miss your dad? I'm sure you do talk a lot now that you moved. No, I don't miss Rodney. He calls me a few times a week, but I wish he wouldn't. I don't want to talk to him. Rodney, do you not call your dad Dad? No, I don't. He isn't a good dad, so I don't call him that. Well, what do you and your dad talk about when he calls? I don't know. He talks about himself and then asks me a bunch of questions about my mom and tells me she's a bad person. And then I get mad at him and he gets mad at me and he hangs up. I used to hang up first, but Mom said I'm not allowed to anymore. That must be tough. Can you think of anything fun you and your dad used to do together when you still lived up here? Maybe you played catch or watched movies? I don't like thinking about when I used to live with Rodney, so I don't know. Do you think you could explain that to me? Why don't you like remembering that time? Did something bad happen? It was always bad. He would always yell and scream and break things if Mom or I messed up something. And when I had to stay with him because my mom was working. I would run away all the time to my grandma's house. I hated being there. And one time right before my mom and I left, I remember seeing my dad beat up our dog because they peed in the house. But they only peed because he wouldn't stop playing video games and take them outside. That is terrible. I'm glad your dog is okay now though. I'm sure that was really scary to hear and see. That's not even the worst of what Rodney does. That's why I don't want to talk to him. He's the meanest person I've ever met. There has to be something good you remember about your dad, though. It can't all be bad. No, not really. Sometimes he did something that I thought was nice, but then it was just a trick. Like, he would promise me we could do fun things together, and then, when it was time to go, he would get mad at me for something I didn't even do and then say he wouldn't take me. So you don't remember ever doing anything fun with your dad? The only time I did anything fun when Rodney was there was because my mom would take me and make him come, but he never actually did the fun stuff. He'd just stand there and say mean stuff and my mom would do things with me, so I don't think that counts as doing fun stuff with Rodney. It sounds like you really love your mom. Is she a good mom to you? She's the best mom ever. What do you think makes her the best mom ever? She just is. She loves me more than anything else. And I love her. And she keeps me safe. No matter what, she always kept me safe when Rodney would get mad at me. I wish I could have kept her safe. But I was too little. Do you remember a time where you wanted to keep your mom safe? What happened? Yeah, I do. I think it was the very last time I saw Rodney in real life. It was when Mom and I were staying with my grandma for a while after we left our old house with Rodney. I was in the back of the car, and Mom was taking me somewhere. And Rodney was standing in front of Mom's car and wouldn't let us leave. He was really, really mad about something. I don't know what. But he held his hand up like it was a pew-pew and told my mom she deserved a bullet in her head. I was so mad, and I was really scared. And I know my mom was scared. but she was pretending not to be because she knows I get scared when she's scared. I wish I would have been big enough to make him leave us alone then. Thank you for finding the time to have Son speak to me so quickly. I appreciate your cooperation. Of course, I'm just glad that he seemed to be willing to open up with you. He sometimes has a hard time speaking to strangers, but his therapist has been working on that with him. He did a phenomenal job. He is a very well-spoken young man, and that isn't something I see frequently in children that have experienced the level of trauma that he spoke to me about. So what's next? Where do we go from here? First, I will need to take some time to review what I spoke about with Son today. Then I am going to need to talk to Mr. Blank again to see what he will say in regards to what I was told by Son and his therapist. I will arrange another time for Son and I to speak, and you as well, and then I should be able to provide my initial findings and recommendations to the judge. Okay, do you have any idea of how long that might be? I'm not trying to rush you or anything. I just want to do whatever I can to protect my son. He's been through enough already. Depending on everyone's cooperation, it should only 3 weeks went by, and the gal called again to speak to Son. After she spoke to Son, she asked him if he would mind giving the phone to me. Hi, did everything go okay? Is there anything I need to do now? No, I just wanted to inform you that I will be recommending to the judge that Son should have the ability to speak for himself on what he wants regarding custody. Really, thank you so much. It's not a guarantee by any means, but Son is a very articulate and intelligent child. He knows right from wrong, and he clearly does not feel safe whatsoever with his father. Forcing him to have a relationship with his father would only cause further trauma. I agree. That's what his therapist said as well. It unalives me to see how much it hurts him every time his father calls. He doesn't deserve to have to go through this. I will be letting the judge know I am prepared to give my initial assessment, but be prepared for the next hearing to take place around this date. That is the week of Son's birthday. Hopefully we are able to give him a happy birthday then. You to take care. I will be speaking to... So did you know that there's something very important happening in the next few days? Yeah, my birthday. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Guess again. I don't know. What do you think is more important than my birthday? I thought that was a pretty big deal. Oh, come on. You used to help me celebrate it when your mom let you see me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember. All I know is that my birthday is in 2 days. You don't remember that next week is Miss Kitty's birthday, the day we brought her home from the shelter. You used to love Miss Kitty. You think a cat's birthday is more important than mine. I'm your son. You are my son, and of course I'm excited for your birthday. But it's not like I get to enjoy it because you wanted to move across the country with your mom and didn't want to stay here with me. So you will just have to celebrate with her. You don't know how sad it makes me that I only have my cat to celebrate now. I don't even get to celebrate my son's birthday anymore. I don't know why you did that to me. Asterisk hangs up the phone on Son. 2 days later, he does not call on Son.